So today we're specifically going to be talking about why you might want to go with the Canon EOS R5 over the R6. I know a lot of people are struggling with that decision, so I'm hoping that this video will help you guys make an informed decision on your purchase. But before we get into it, I want to thank you guys for subscribing to my channel. I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers and I am truly happy that you guys are enjoying this content. So if you like this video and you haven't subscribed yet, then definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. So like I said, we're going to be talking about the Canon EOS R5 compared to the R6 and why that might be a better purchase for you in the long run. I'm going to be going over some of the most compelling reasons why I think that the R5 might be a better fit for you. So with both the R5 and the R6, you have the potential of running into overheating issues, but with the Canon EOS R6, there's no backup option if you do overheat when you're shooting 4K. The only thing that you could do is switch the camera to 1080p. Now with the Canon EOS R5, you do have a backup option. There's a standard 4K mode that you can record in if your camera overheats. And I would tend to think that if you're not cropping 100 or 200% into the footage, that you'd have a hard time telling the difference between the 4K standard and the 4K high quality. All right, so the second reason why you might want to go with the Canon EOS R5 is that the camera is built better in general. While the Canon EOS R6 is rated for 300,000 shutter actuations, the Canon EOS R5 is rated for 500,000 shutter actuations. That definitely played a big role in my decision to upgrade to the Canon EOS R5 from the R6, because there's a good chance that the R5 is going to last me longer and it's going to be more future-proof because I'm going to be able to use that shutter for a longer period of time. Additionally, you're going to get superior weather sealing in the Canon EOS R5 over the R6. So reason number 3 is that the R5 has higher quality slow motion options. So while the R6 does allow you to shoot in 120 frames per second, you are limited to 1080p. And now with a more recent firmware update for the R5, you can choose to shoot in 120 frames per second, both in 1080p and in 4K. So those of you that rely on those higher quality slow motion options, I would definitely go with the Canon EOS R5. All right, so this next reason is really big for a lot of people, and for me, it was probably the primary reason why I switched to the Canon EOS R5, and that is that it is a better hybrid camera. While the R6 has really nice video features like great autofocus, really nice 4K footage, especially the 60 frames per second setting, which beats out the R5 just by a little bit, the ability to switch to those settings on the fly really isn't there for the R6. With the Canon EOS R5, you're able to set that multi-function button to switch right to photography if you're in the video mode and vice versa. That feature alone, I feel like, has definitely made it worth the upgrade over the R6. You're able to set 3 different custom video modes to your preferred settings. So I have mine set to 4K for each of those modes, and I just vary the frame rate. So I have 24 frames per second, 60 frames per second, and 120 frames per second. And I can switch to each of those modes with the hit of 2 buttons, so the transition is really seamless. If you're doing a lot of professional video work that requires you to change from video to photography frequently throughout the day, I would definitely pay the extra money for the R5 over the R6 because it is going to be worth all of the time that you save trying to change those settings. Okay, so the last reason that I went with the Canon EOS R5 is that I like the color more from the R5 sensor, both for photography and for video. Now this one's a little bit more subjective because everybody has their own preference, but for me, especially for photography, when I was uploading those raw photos from the Canon EOS R6 into Lightroom, I was having a harder time color correcting those R6 raw files in Lightroom compared to the R5 raw files. I found that the color of the raw files were really similar to if you were shooting video on the R6 in the EOS original color matrix. I did make a video on the EOS original color matrix compared to the neutral color matrix on the R6, so I'll link that above if you want to check that out. But I seem to be having the same issue with those raw files with the Canon EOS R6. If you guys have had a different experience, or if you feel the same way, definitely let me know in the comments section below, because it's definitely something that I struggled with, and I'm curious to see if anybody else has. Thank you so much for checking out this video today. If you are choosing between the R5 and the R6, I really hope that this information helped you in either direction. And like I said, I'm almost to 1,000 subscribers, so if you guys enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to help me out. I'll talk to you later.